Last week, I rolled up to the Epic Games headquarters to once and for all confront them about the current state of Fortnite Mobile. Okay, never mind, that's not actually what happened at all. I was indeed at the Epic Games HQ last week to talk to them about Fortnite Mobile, but that's because they graciously invited me and a handful of other creators out to their headquarters. So no, I did not storm up to their front doors uninvited. And I want to say at the top of this video that unfortunately, no, I can't really say any specifics about what was talked about at the HQ. What I can say is that yes, Epic Games and the Fortnite Mobile team are well aware of the optimization issues and other bugs like the turbo build glitch. Whether you realize it or not, the Fortnite Mobile team is aware of most of the major issues affecting the platform and have been working on fixing them for quite some time. So I know that is not a satisfactory answer about what was talked about at the HQ, but it's the honest truth. But based on some recent updates that have come the way of mobile in the last few days that we'll talk about in today's video in just a moment, it seems like Epic Games is hard at work on improving the mobile platform. I can already hear you headed to the comments saying, well, if I can't say what I actually talked about, then why am I making this video in the first place? It's because I think Fortnite Mobile is in a very interesting spot right now. I hope that we can look back in like a year's time, sometime late next year, and realize that this is when things really started to turn around for the mobile platform. Fortnite Mobile isn't going to magically return to its former glory that we all once remember without a little effort. Okay, maybe a lot of effort, both from the Epic Games developers, but also from us as a community, because I realized this last week that one of the main reasons Fortnite Mobile has felt just kind of off or weird ever since the game returned to iOS in the United States earlier this year is because the community is just scattered all over the place, meaning there's no real central hub or place for Fortnite Mobiles to play with each other, engage with each other, and just feel like a community. And this used to not be a problem at all, as there were endless Discord servers, some with tens of thousands of members. There was a bunch of content creators always making content, and platforms like Twitter for us to share our best moments on. But ever since the return, we haven't had this sense of a strong community, or at least I haven't felt that to be the case. And that's why this last week, I decided to launch a brand new Fortnite Mobile Discord with the goal of it being a central place or a hub for Fortnite Mobile players to engage with each other, discover news, report bugs, find people to play with, and just feel connected again. I'll leave a link down below in the description for you all, of course, to join. Because of the recent competitive announcements that I'll be talking about in just a moment, we're definitely going to be hosting some scrims and other competitive stuff in the future, as well as tournaments for content and videos right here on the channel. Additionally, if you've ever wanted to report a bug that you encounter in the game straight to Epic Games, then you could do so in the new Discord, because I'm going to be doing my best to pass along all of these bugs in one big report over to Epic Games. I'll be active in the Discord daily, so make sure to invite some fellow Fortnite Mobile friends. Now, one of the big critiques from mobile players has been pretty much the utter lack of competitive events on mobile. This was obviously a big deal when the game was banned. We had maybe a tournament every year or so, but fortunately this got a lot better a few months ago when Epic announced the weekly mobile-only Blitz Cups that we've been playing ever since August. Unfortunately, they just ended a few weeks ago, and I felt like I noticed that these tournaments didn't really scratch the itch of most competitive players, because yes, it was a competitive event, a real tournament, but with no real prize pool and with no real incentive to grind, the tournaments quickly lost players over the last few months. I think the only one I ever played was the very first week of the tournament to snag the skin, which I think I didn't even get, and then afterwards I decided it wasn't worth my time to play an hour tournament when there was really nothing to gain from it. But Epic Games seems to have heard our cries loud and clear, because back in September they announced the $1 million prize pool just for the mobile platform, and a few days ago, actually like yesterday, they announced a $15,000 touch-only Blitz Cup tournament. Now notice I didn't say mobile only, and that's because you can only compete in this tournament if you are on a mobile device not using a controller. You must be using your fingers on your screen as your main input for you to be eligible to play in this tournament. Now, for the handful of controller players watching this video, I know it is saddening to know that you're not going to be able to play in this tournament, but I think a vast majority of players that play on mobile exclusively play with touch and not with controllers, so it's just a difficult decision that Epic Games had to make, but I think most of the mobile players are happy with it. And this tournament announcement not only shows that Epic Games is keeping true to their promise for delivering tournaments with money on the line, but they're also taking it one step further by not allowing controller players from console or PC to hop on their phone or tablet to earn a quick buck on mobile. The format for the tournament is also pretty awesome. Each region will have 2 one-hour qualifying rounds in which the top 8 players will move on to round 3, which is the final round. The prize pool for the final round is on screen and adds up to around $2,100 per region for the prize pool. If you qualify to the final round, then you're making a guaranteed crisp $100 bill with the potential to take home nearly $400 on mobile. Personally, I think this is such an amazing step in the right direction, and one could assume, or at least hope, that the $1 Million Mobile series will be touch only to further highlight what makes this platform unique, which is, in my opinion, the touch players. This tournament will be taking place on the 5th, literally the day after for when I'm uploading this video, and it is labeled as a test tournament, so I'm hoping that we get to play and experience more tournaments like this before we dive into the $1 Million Mobile series next year. I can't remember the last time there was money on the line for a mobile exclusive tournament, and I'm not sure if we've ever had a touch only tournament. And trust me, I wish I knew the details of the $1 Million tournament series coming next year. I'm just as clueless as the rest of you all, even though I just went to the HQ. But I do think that these test tournaments that Epic Games is running will be very, very fundamental to helping them decide which format or formats will work best for the $1 Million series. For example, if everyone loves this format, then maybe we see more of these Blitz Cup. And if everyone hates it, then I doubt they're going to double down on the Blitz mode. And so make sure to go out there, play this tournament on the 5th, try to make some money, and then share your thoughts about it on social media, because again, I promise the Fortnite Mobile team wants your feedback. But that wasn't the only major development that's happened in the last week with mobile. As with the recent Simpsons update version 38, Epic unveiled a new feature of their Think client, which helps get users playing Fortnite faster on mobile. Because I think we can all agree that the download times are a pain in the butt for major updates and just most updates in general. And trust me, Epic knows this. That's why they've been working all year round on reducing the required download files for updates, and you most likely experienced this in the last update, because on their recent patch notes for mobile, they said this: when installing Fortnite for the first time on iOS or Android, Fortnite Blitz Royale will now be the only experience included with the initial game download. Creator-made islands can now be downloaded and played without needing to wait for other experiences to download or update. That way, you can choose when to download experiences like Battle Royale, Creative, Reload, OG, Lego Fortnite, Rocket Racing, or Fortnite Festival, keeping the initial install much smaller. And I know you're thinking this might not seem like a big step forward, but trust me, it is. When compared to other mobile games right now in 2025, no one wants to sit around and download 13 gigabytes of files before even playing the game for the first time. So I know this isn't a perfect solution, because when I downloaded the update today myself, I then had to do a 2 gigabyte download for some creative maps. And so hopefully this feature will only improve as time goes on and will help more players get introduced to the platform. Because as awesome and amazing as competitive tournaments are and prize pools and all that stuff, the real future of mobile is of course going to be just getting casual players to play whatever UEFN map they want, or just to hop on BR or play Blitz mode when they have some spare time. And I also think it's really interesting that the only mode available to be played initially after downloading the game is Blitz mode. Given that it is a no build mode and it's 5 minutes, it kind of is like the perfect introductory mode for mobile. But I wonder if in the future there's ways for us to customize our downloads to say like, no, I don't want Blitz mode, I really just want to play BR or Reload, and then keep everything else uninstalled on my device. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I did reiterate many times to Epic Games the importance of optimization and quickly squashing bugs when they arise. Unfortunately, it seems like the new Simpsons season has brought along a new sensitivity bug that makes everything be way more sensitive than it should be. But it seems like the team is already aware of this and they're actively working on fixing it, because I think this issue popped up a while ago. And I think this highlights the importance of us as a community, because if we're not sharing the issues that we're dealing with, how are they know everyone's dealing with it if no one's tweeting about it or making Reddit posts or posting things on the Discord? It's a perfect example of the community going, hey, there's this problem, and then Epic Games going, oh, that's not good, we'll fix it as soon as we can. And so again, I think communication is headed in the right direction. And I know there is a long-standing heads-up display optimization issue that leads to massive, and I mean mega frame drops but I think I've mostly figured it out on my end, and hopefully plan on releasing a video here soon on how you all can prevent most of the major lag spikes when switching between build and edit mode in Fortnite Mobile. The gameplay you've been watching this entire video, if you haven't noticed, has been at a near constant 120 FPS on the new iPad, which means that the game itself is optimized, but it's the heads-up display bug that, in my opinion, is causing a bulk of the FPS drops. And so yes, I'm doing my best as well to see about getting this bug fixed. And I know that this is a huge, massive, maybe monumental, trust me bro moment, but in the last 7 years of playing Fortnite Mobile, I've never felt more hopeful for the future of the platform. The awesome people at Epic Games that I met truly want the mobile platform to succeed. And not just that, but thrive. I think it's often easy for us to feel like the mobile platform is forgotten about or left behind compared to that of PC or console, but I think that 2026 needs to be different if Fortnite wants to succeed on mobile. Roblox is demolishing every other game out there, and long-standing shooters like PUBG Mobile and COD Mobile are going really strong still, and not to mention Valorant Mobile is planned to launch sometime in 2026. And so the competition being massive, Fortnite Mobile needs to lock in as a platform, or we're all kind of cooked. But I would argue Epic Games is doing just that. They're locking in. Me being invited out to the headquarters speaks volumes that they want to hear from the perspective of a mobile player and that they actually care what we think. Being honest, the last few years definitely didn't give me that perception that Epic Games was caring what we thought as a mobile platform, but obviously that's all changed and I'm very appreciative of that. This last week has had 2 big movements in the right direction, and I'm hoping that this is the start of a snowball effect to get Fortnite Mobile back on track to dominate the mobile scene in 2026. I'm going to do my absolute best to help with this, but truly I think it's going to be a community effort next year. I hope you'll join the Discord and invite your friends who also play Fortnite Mobile to it, so that way we can all make a difference in pushing Fortnite Mobile back into its prime. Let me know down below what's the #1 thing you change or add about Fortnite Mobile right now, as I'm curious to see what you think needs to be fixed or focused on by Epic Games in 2026. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to drop a like, join the Discord, and I'll see you on the next one. Deuces!